Welcome to the DreamNation Breakfast Club. I am your host, Josh Valentine. Excited to be here with you all as always. And for those of you who are hopping on for the very first time, welcome, welcome. This is where we gather together with our community every single Tuesday at 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And man, what a way to close out the year. It's been an amazing year, very challenging year in a lot of ways, but all in all, it's been a year of a lot of great lessons learned and a lot of exciting things that have happened over the course of this past year. So crazy to think how fast the year has gone. And today's topic is going to be centered around the pause between chapters, how to finish strong and begin on purpose. So it's going to be all about closing out the year very strong and opening up the year with a bang. And I love this time of the year because there's just so many things to look forward to. There's for some of you, I know you're probably setting New Year resolutions. You're probably just, getting ready to transition to the new year. I know it's been a very challenging year in so many different ways for a lot of people, but all in all, it's a great time to leverage all of that New Year excitement. And we're about to get this show on the road. If you guys don't mind, drop a like, comment, share, tag someone who can get value from today's session. And thank you so much for those of you who always share the Breakfast Club. And if you're new and you're wondering what is this all about, typically we gather together every Tuesday. I've been doing this now online for about 5 years, but I've been gathering together with our community now for about a decade. And it's just been such a blessing, serving this community for so many years. And if you're new, welcome. We cover everything centered around personal development, life coaching, things that could essentially make your life better. And we're about to get this party started. Usually when we get the Breakfast Club kickstarted, we share different life hacks and fun facts. And that's what we're going to do here this morning. If you're watching the replay, again, drop a R in the comments. If you're with us live, drop an L. And I know we have people who tune in from different parts of the world. So let us know what city you are tuning in from. I see we have New York City in the house. We got Trinidad and Tobago in the house. We got Texas in the house. Welcome, everyone. We have Florida. We have the Bahamas. Welcome. All right, let's get this thing kickstarted. So to get us started off, I have a few fun facts. The very first one is most people don't fail at their New Year's goals because of discipline. They fail because they never properly closed the previous year mentally. Unfinished emotional loops drain future momentum. So there's so many angles that you can look at this. And I think it's so true because a lot of the times when you think about it, most people, they have a tendency to kind of start things and not finish them, right? And a lot of it is self-image. A lot of it is identity. It's your paradigm. It's the way you typically go about whatever it is that you're working on. And it's so important to cultivate an identity as someone who consistently follows through on what they said that they were going to do. And I'm a firm believer in the saying that if you truly want something done, there's 3 things that you need to do. You need to say yes, tell the world, figure it out. And what does that even mean? So saying yes to the opportunity at hand, whatever it is. Sometimes it's just a matter of just saying yes and then figuring it out as you go. But I love the part that says to tell the world. And the reason why telling the world is so powerful is because you have that extra layer of accountability. You have that part of you that just doesn't want to, let's say, not follow through or embarrass yourself. And you can leverage that. I know for me over the years, one of the things that I've been very adamant about is whenever I am going for a big goal, I want to put my name on the line. I want to ensure that, people know like, hey, Josh is working on this big endeavor. And I want them asking me about it because that's going to keep me on my toes. So saying yes, tell the world, figure it out. I've done it many times here on the Breakfast Club as well, just constantly mentioning to you guys what it is that I'm going to do because there's that extra layer of accountability. So it's super, super helpful whenever you want to achieve pretty much anything. Fun fact number 2, psychologists call this the fresh start effect. Time markers like New Year's, birthdays, and Mondays actually increase motivation, but only when paired with clarity and intention. And I love this share here, particularly because it's so true. Whenever you have that, for example, I remember turning 30 or turning 35, right? Or turning 25 or turning 20. There was just something about that excitement, that 5-year window where it's like a fresh start. And I'd always crank things up right before those birthdays, even with regular birthdays, right? But specifically when it comes to the new year, it's that same level of excitement. Like, don't let a new year go to waste. Leverage the excitement of it, and you'll find yourself really pushing a lot more during this time of the year. And it's super helpful because everybody else is slowing down. So going into the new year with a bang, take some time. I know we don't have much time to kick off the new year, but with the time that you do have, take some time to really just reflect and get ready to launch yourself into the new year. Fun fact number 3, top performers in business and athletics consistently spend more time reviewing the past than setting the future. Reflection compounds faster than motivation. Reflection compounds faster than motivation. And really, this is kind of seeing what are your lead and lag indicators, as we call it in the personal development world. Like, what's working, what's not working. What in the business world, you also have like KPIs, key performance indicators, that kind of tell you whether or not your activity is getting the results that you're looking for. But reflecting on what has worked, what's not working. And it's going to be super important when you go into the new year to really reflect on, okay, well, what hasn't really been serving me? What has been causing me the most pain in my life? What has been causing me the most distraction in my life? And really doing some self-inventory so that you can properly go into the new year without bringing in all of that baggage, right? So next we have a few life hacks. The first one is the 3 wins/3 lessons rule. And the way that works is before the year ends, write down your 3 biggest wins, your 3 biggest lessons. Now, if you guys don't mind, drop a comment on some of your 3 biggest wins. When I was reflecting on this earlier this morning as I'm going through my notes, and I was just thinking about like the 3 big wins for me. And it really depends on what you consider a win, right? So earlier this year, over the summer, we went to Spain and Portugal. And for me, that was a big win. Anytime I get to travel to some new places, new cities, I got to go to Barcelona, Lisbon, and a few other cities in between Spain and Portugal. And for me, that was a major win because no matter what I was going through, and we had our kids go to the Bahamas for the summer. And for us to be able to just kind of go and take that time to travel, it was definitely a big win. But we also had things like our creators conference, the fact that I've done podcasts consistently all throughout the year and met a bunch of phenomenal people and a lot of business milestones, right? Those were all essentially wins. But when I think about the lessons, I think that that's even more valuable. Like, what did you learn over the past year? If you guys don't mind, drop a few shares on some of your biggest lessons. I know for me, it was definitely just stretching my faith during times of great uncertainty, just stretching my faith and learning how to relax, learning how to be okay in the chaos, right? Just putting my trust that everything is going to work itself out. All of that stuff has been super, super helpful. Just some of my biggest lessons definitely were centered around that. And if you don't extract lessons, you essentially repeat cycles in your life. Growth only comes from review plus awareness. So you don't want to just roll into the new year without learning from your previous year. 2026 is definitely going to be a year where you let go a lot of your baggage. If you really want to grow to the next level, you want to take your life to the next level, you are not going to be able to get to that next destination holding on to all of that baggage in 2025. Life hack number 2, subtraction before addition. Before setting new goals, identify 1 habit to stop, 1 relationship to redefine, 1 distraction to eliminate. So think about that for a second. What is 1 habit that you'd like to stop going into the new year? Just something that you probably do. It could be doom scrolling on social media. It can be drinking, smoking. It could be eating, binge eating, or whatever. But what's one habit that would be super beneficial if you stopped it altogether? Next is one relationship to redefine. Now, what do we mean by redefine? I like to look at redefining relationships as maybe going about the relationship in a different way, putting certain relationships in certain categories. So you may have had someone that you were spending a lot of time with, and it wasn't necessarily leading you to where you wanted to be, right? And perhaps what has to happen in that relationship is you cultivate limited association with that person. Sometimes you have to love people at a distance, as I oftentimes say as well. So redefining your relationships is going to be super important. I always say going into a season of spiritual selfishness, where you may have to really be adamant about taking care of you for a season, raising the rent, going through your eviction season, right? Choosing who is going to be occupying your mental space rent-free and who gets evicted, who has to go through the doorman, that entire idea, but raising the rent in 2026 for your relationships. And perhaps one distraction to eliminate. What is that distraction? I know for me, throughout the course of the year, I'm like deleting my social medias on multiple occasions. I still do it to this day. If I find myself doom scrolling too much, I'll just delete it altogether because I know that it's just a bad habit. So what's one distraction you can eliminate altogether? Remember, the fastest way forward is removing what no longer serves you. It's always going to be the fastest way forward. It's like wanting to get to your final destination, but you have all these bags that you're holding on to, all this baggage. And sometimes it's just best to let go of the baggage altogether. Life hack number 3, choose a word, not a resolution. So this is a different way of going about launching the new year. So it could be a theme, right? So instead of 10 resolutions, choose one guiding word for the year. And it can be focus, it can be alignment, it can be discipline, expansion. I know expansion definitely resonates with me because 2025 was most certainly a foundation building season. And you want to let every decision pass through that word. It has to be in alignment with that word. If the word is, yeah. So if you have, let's just say, discipline that you want to work on in 2026, so you want to get extremely focused. I know one of the things that I closed out the year, if there was anything that I learned, it was just making sure that I'm not stretched so thin with all of the endeavors that I have going on, getting focus on one specific thing. All right. So before we jump into today's main topic, I just wanted to share, I had launched a challenge, a 5-day challenge with our community about a month ago, and it was absolutely incredible connecting with a lot of you guys. This challenge was a lot different than anything that I've ever done in the past in terms of challenges, because this 5-day challenge, the unique thing about it is it was one-on-one. So I got to work with a hand select group of people on a one-to-one basis, where I meet with you and I coach you one-on-one for 5 days. And I had a lot of people inquire about it. I had to close it because there's only one of me, of course. And I had a lot of people reach out regarding the 5-day challenge. And I'm opening it back up to kick off 2026. So I'm excited. I'm not sure if I'm going to do it beyond January. It just depends on my availability. But I do have a few slots that I'm opening up for you guys. So if you want information on how the 5-day challenge works, and the 5-day challenge is pretty much for people who want to launch something. So if you want to launch, let's say, your speaking career, you want to launch a podcast, you want to take your business to the next level, you want to just get yourself going, you want to get the wheels turning on something that you've been wanting to work on for a very long time, this is definitely the best way to do it. And DM me the word challenge. Even if you tune into this a little bit late, DM me the word challenge anyway. I may end up opening up slots throughout the year, depending on my availability, but I have a standby list of people, and I just want to make sure that I have, all of you guys on the list, and I can kind of reach out to you. If you just get on the list, I could always reach out to you and let you know when there's future availability, if for whatever reason you don't participate in the month of January. So 5-day challenge going down, opening up some new slots for these next few weeks. So definitely DM me the word challenge right now if you want to be a part of it. So next up, we have today's meat and potatoes, and we're going to get us kickstarted with why most people drift into the new year. Why do most people drift into the new year? Here are a few reasons. They carry emotional weight from the previous year. Listen, you do not want to be bringing old energy into new situations, right? Whatever happened in 2025, whether it's your relationships, whether it was your health, whether it was your finances, whatever it is, maybe you lost your job, but this is not the time to be bringing in that old energy into a new year. Like scripture says, you can't put old wine into or new wine into old skins, right? You have to bring a new you into the new year. Super, super important. I know it's cliche, new year, new me, but it's so spot on. That's how you should approach the new year, just looking at yourself with a fresh set of eyes. Next is they confuse hope with strategy. So it's not just hoping that the new year is going to get better. It's definitely putting together a strategy so that you can actually execute and have a clear path launching into the new year. Next is they set goals without identity alignment. So a lot of goal setting, honestly, is definitely working on your alignment. You have to believe that you're worthy for whatever it is that you want to accomplish. Maybe you want to lose weight in the upcoming year, and you have to believe that you can very well, drop those 20, 30 pounds, or maybe you have to reframe the way you look at yourself in relationships, right? You have to believe you're worthy of love, worthy of a good relationship, right? That you can start over. If maybe you lost some things in 2025, you have to have the courage and the belief and conviction that you can start over. That's what it's about. So remember, you don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your habits and self-image. Next, how to properly close the year. Okay, so this is the missing step, how to properly close the year. And I love closing out the year in a lot of different ways. For me, a lot of it is reflection for sure, and just reflecting on the year. Again, as we mentioned, counting those big wins, counting those lessons. But I like to create, and I mentioned this, I believe last week, was the fact that I do a highlight reel. And the highlight reel is I'll type in my photo album. I was actually doing this with one of my clients the other day. If you have an iPhone, I think Droid may have the same feature. You can just type in 2025 in the search, and it'll pull up all of your photos and videos of 2025 or whatever year. And then you can just kind of go through the entire year and see some of the things that you've done, because usually things that are profound or really cool moments, we'll take pictures or videos, right? And that's a great way to kind of put together a highlight reel of your year. And you can just even write out a list of different things that you were able to do, accomplish, milestones, maybe battles that you overcame. But all of these different things go a long way. And it's just a great way to put yourself in a state of gratitude to get ready to launch into the new year. Now, I want to encourage you guys to, number one, forgive yourself for missed goals. That's a big part of it, because sometimes we beat up on ourselves like, man, I didn't really do anything I had set to do early in the year. Maybe you had a bunch of New Year resolutions and didn't follow through on any of them. And listen, forgive yourself. Life goes on, right? The fact that you still have air to breathe, you still have probably your legs, your arms, like you still have you. If you have your health, that is a blessing. If you still have your family, like that's a blessing. A lot of people lost loved ones in 2025. And the fact that you still have your loved ones, for those of you who do, it is an absolute blessing. So just forgive yourself for any missed goals. And remember, you have a lot of things that you can be grateful for still. Another thing is acknowledge growth, even if the results weren't visible. How are some ways that you've grown? Maybe you've grown spiritually. Maybe you've grown emotionally, right? Developed some emotional intelligence or maybe emotional resilience. I know it definitely was the case for me, just having more resilience and persistence throughout the year, just not giving up. But there's sometimes you don't necessarily see exponential growth, but there's still growth there. It doesn't, just because you can't see it doesn't mean that it didn't happen. So just acknowledge your growth. Next is release shame, guilt, and comparison. Shame, guilt, and comparison. If there is any shame, listen, we all have those seasons in our lives where we're not so proud of, but life moves on. And that's the beautiful thing about life. It's very cyclical in nature. It's seasonal, and you have new seasons for different reasons. And let go of the shame, move on, because you're not going to be able to truly attract what it is that you want in your life if you're holding on to shame or guilt. And then also you have comparison. So maybe you're looking at people on social media and they're posting all of their highlight reels. And remember, social media isn't real. Like, especially in today's AI world, what you see is typically not the full story. And there are a lot of people who live lives of quiet desperation, who look like they have it all together and they just do not. So throw comparison out the window. It's definitely not worth it. Run your own race. Here's a really great line. You can't start a new chapter if you keep rereading the last one. Onward and upward. That's what it's about. Fair winds and following seas, my friend. Go out and sail your ship off to the horizon. It is go time. Next, identity before action. Identity before action. I have a few questions for you, by the way. The very first one is, who did this year force me to become? Think about that. Who did this year force you to become? I was reflecting on this earlier, like, man, that's such a great question, because when you think about it, there's so many aspects of this past year that were very, very challenging. And when you think about who it forced you to become, like, I know this year forced me to become a person that just relaxes a lot more during times of stress, during times of great uncertainty. And it really pushed me to my edge, challenged me, and really just, it humbled me in a lot of ways. So who did this year force you to become? Drop a comment, if you guys don't mind, on who this year forced you to become. The next question is, what version of me must exist for the next level of my life? What version? I know for me, what stands out is a version of me that is a lot more focused, a lot more intentional, and a version of me that values more consistency, right? It's valuing more consistency. Set a standard for, just especially for those of you who are entrepreneurs and you're running a business, you have to set a standard for the baseline. What's the minimum you're willing to accept in terms of income and profitability with that business? But there has to be non-negotiables, things that are an absolute must, because as you know, and you oftentimes hear, you don't get your shoulds, you get your must in life. What is a must for you? Okay. Big part of the process. So what standards can no longer be negotiable? Maybe for you, it's relationship standards, the types of people that you hang around. Those may be standards. Putting other people before you, that may be a new standard or a non-negotiable, right? Because you can't fill from an empty cup. So that's a big part of it as well. Next, we have how to enter the new year with intention, not pressure. Replace I must with I choose. Big difference, right? I must with I choose. Now, think about it. You don't have to do anything. I know a lot of people are like, man, I have to go to work. No, you get to go to work. You don't have to do anything. If you choose not to do anything, you technically, you have every right to just not do anything, but there's consequences to all of our actions. But remember, everything that you're doing, you choose to do it. When it's all said and done, it's something that you intentionally choose. So replacing that verbiage is super important. Next is design systems, not just goals. Design systems, not just goals. And remember, system can be an acronym for saving yourself some time, energy, and money. Now, when I think of systems in terms of our personal lives, I'm thinking just calendar optimization. How do you schedule in the important things in your life on your calendar? So when it comes to your faith, for example, do you have faith scheduled in throughout the day, scheduled in throughout the week, whether that's going to, let's say, a faith-based institution, or maybe it's prayer, meditation, maybe it's going out in nature, whatever it is. But do you have faith scheduled in? Now, when it comes to your fitness, where do you have on your calendar today or throughout the week slots specifically for your fitness? When it comes to your family life, I know for me, Sundays are super important because that's our time to just really hone in on family life. Last night, we had a game night with all of our family and friends, and my wife hosted game night, and we got to do like a lot of cool stuff. But you have to schedule these things in. You have to prioritize them. When it comes to your fortune or your finances, right? What are you doing throughout the course of the week to make sure that you're intentional about scheduling those things in? And then lastly, when it comes to the 5Fs, what are you doing to schedule fun, right? Fun in your life. Quality of life, super important. Next, we have a calm, disciplined year will outperform a motivated, chaotic one every single time. Remember, it's calm, cool, and collected, right? A calm, disciplined year will outperform a motivated, chaotic one every single time. And I don't know about y'all, but I could use a lot more peace in 2026 because 2025 was just a lot of craziness. And sometimes we tend to load up our schedule with just so many different things. And those are things that aren't even moving the needle for where we want to go in life. So it is good to just really reevaluate the way that you've been going about your year. Now, the one question that sets the tone for the entire year. Here's a reflective question that's really good. If nothing changes this year, what will I deeply regret 1 year from now? Think about that. If nothing changes this upcoming year, we're talking, what will you deeply regret 1 year from now? And that can be, let's just say, distractions, things or people that have been distracting you. Maybe it can be your health. Maybe you might regret not really improving your health or not nurturing relationships, not putting the time into your business or whatever is required for your career. What will you regret? There's a lot of crazy things going on in the world, a lot of exciting things too. So, for example, AI is a huge phenomenon right now. And if you are not integrating AI into whatever it is that you're doing, you're going to be left behind because this is an inevitable part of our lives. AI and the integration of AI with our everyday lives and our work, you probably should be taking some time to learn it, to learn how to work with it and get very familiar with it, especially if you want to keep yourself competitive in the marketplace, if you want to keep yourself valuable in the marketplace, because as the saying goes, we're not going to be replaced by AI. We're going to be replaced by the people who know how to work with AI. Okay, so a lot of things that you probably should be taking time to learn. Even if you had, let's say, aspirations to do a podcast or launch a YouTube channel, what are you waiting for? It's happening, right? And you're letting all of this precious time go right before your eyes. So this is the year to take massive action because the world is moving fast and it's not waiting for you. And if you don't want to be left behind and you want to seize the opportunity, this is the time to really reevaluate what you've been doing that hasn't been working, reevaluate what do you truly want with your life, and start putting together a plan for how you're going to execute it in the new year. Okay. Now, silence after this question hits hard, but it's super important to reflect on. So again, if nothing changes this year, what will you deeply regret 1 year from now? Now, as we get ready to close out, I know today was short and sweet. A lot of you are getting ready to kick off the new year, which I'm excited for you all. And I just wanted to share a few more closing messages. So here's a great quote. This year doesn't need a new version of you. It needs a more aligned one. Finish the year grateful. start the next one intentional. And it's super important to just really reflect on that. So again, guys, this past year has been such a blessing. I just want you all to know how truly grateful I am to serve this community. It's been a lot of years that I've been just putting my heart and soul into these Tuesday mornings with you all. And it's been very consistent over the years. And I'm just truly grateful and blessed that I could even wake up to provide you guys with this value. The best way that you can thank me is definitely hopping over to the Journey Podcast. You could always leave a review, drop a 5-star review wherever the podcast is streamed. You could like, comment, share, tag someone who can get value from this. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, all that good stuff. And it's always greatly appreciated. And for those of you who want to, again, kick off your new year, DM me the word challenge right now so that we can get you on a one-on-one challenge for 5 days to launch whatever it is that you want to launch in the upcoming year. Do not let the opportunity go by. And a lot of exciting things to look forward to. A lot of, again, exciting, crazy stuff happening in the world, but there's a lot to be grateful for, a lot to be excited for. And I just pray that 2026 brings you everything that your heart desires and everything that serves you, everything that takes you to the next level and propels you. And thank you for all of you who've been loyal all of these years, just tuning in every single week. I really appreciate every last one of you. God bless you all. Happy New Year to you and your families. And I'll be seeing you guys in 2026. Take care. God bless. Breakfast is served, guys.